Oh, man.
Whoa.
Yes. Ring Kings podcast. We are back here to talk about Canelo Alvarez taking that second L of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man, look, shout out to Bivol. Yes, shout out to Ferris says Bivol. Yes, Bivol took it to him. I ain't gonna lie, I slept on him a little bit. I think most people did. But what's up, fellas? How we doing?
I'm feeling great, man.
Like we're laughing because like we all like Canelo here, like we're Canelo fans. It's just listening to announcers trying to reason a way for Canelo to win this fight, and it's just like clearly he's losing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out to Dave. What's going on? Hashtag Ring Kings podcast. Yes, indeed.
What's up, Dave, man?
Yeah, man. Look, we are streaming live on YouTube and Twitter. So make sure if you're following or if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Here goes Suge.
What's up,
He says,
Suge?
"Wait, Canelo lost? Yeah, man. He took the L.
Yeah.
He took that L.
Badly.
You can go back to being Puerto Rican now.
Listen, yeah. Look, Canelo fought hard, and those judges fought hard to try to give him that fight, but they said, man,
yeah. So
he's didn't win enough.
The judges, all three of them scored at 115, 113 for Bivol. I had it 10-2 for Bivol. And honestly, one of the rounds I just kind of gave it to Canelo.
I had it 9-3 for Bivol. But like I was telling B before we came on air, like I gotta go back and look at it because a couple of those rounds where I gave it to him, yeah, he was active, but you don't get points for hitting arms and shoulders,
Yeah.
And even it's funny because they asked Bivol if he ever got hurt during the fight. He's like, yeah, my arm really hurts, and I'm just like, yeah, that's how he was hit. It was his arms.
Yeah,
Mr. J. Canelo had no answers, none. Poor game plan by Canelo and his team.
Yeah,
I think he could have fought a better fight than that.
Yeah, Canelo came out immediately. And what stood out to me in the very first round was Bivol was throwing a ton of jabs, just throwing, keeping his fists in Canelo's face. Wasn't really landing much, but just throwing. Canelo was kind of waiting in, picking his spots and throwing with intention to hurt him. Right,
yeah.
Like he looked like he was trying to get Bivol out of there early, and it just didn't seem like a great game plan. He spent most of the fight doing that. He was trying to punch around Bivol's guard. He was throwing a lot of hooks.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing the same, jab, right hook, and it was always landing on Bivol's shoulder or his bicep. It was never getting through. He landed a few nice uppercuts here and there. Wasn't going to the body. Wasn't changing up his game plan at all. He really thought that he was going to land one or two big shots that were going to change the fight, and it just never happened.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's part of his game plan. That punching the arm thing. He did that to Callum Smith. He does that to fighters that are heavy jabbers to try to tire their arms out. And Bivol was ready for that, like he said at the end of the fight, man. I mean, Canelo, he got washed. I'm with you, Zay. I had it at about 9-3. I was scoring it on Ring Kings, and then shout out to East Street, but East Street got a little funky, but that's all right. It still got me through. But I got behind. So I got behind in the scoring. But I had it at 9-3. It wasn't close in my opinion, and Canelo, like you said, B was looking for that one punch, and Bivol just out. He's smart. I mean, he fought very, very smartly, and it worked out for him, man. He didn't. I felt like throughout the fight, Canelo was trying to sucker him in, especially when Canelo would lean on the ropes a little bit. I think he was trying to. He wanted to draw Bivol into an exchange with him, and Bivol would throw, and then he would take a step back.
Yeah.
So he fought a very, very smart fight. He stuck to the game plan, and man, he was in control of the fight the entire fight.
Yeah, and I don't. This kind of lost. We saw a tweet from. Hey, what's going on, Buck? A tweet from Bud Crawford after the fight saying, "Oh, I guess we know who's number one now." And I'm
Yeah.
sitting here and I'm like, not you, bud. You just sit around, you don't fight anybody. Like, I don't want to hear from you right now. Like, Canelo lost because he moved up to 175 in an attempt to unify another division.
Yeah.
You know, so as I look at this loss, and it was a bad loss in terms of how bad he got beat. He got outboxed for the entire fight basically, but it doesn't really diminish Canelo in my eyes because, like I said, he was going up. He was moving up, testing himself against great competition, and that's going to happen. It was going to happen eventually if he kept on going. The question now is going to be what's next for Canelo after this fight.
Yeah. And Ferris says he's got beef with E Street. Look. You're not going to disrespect E Street. You just have to learn how to navigate through E Street. All right.
Yeah. E Street can be rough waters, but
I sent you a different lane to walk down. Sometimes you gotta go with the flow. All right, it's all good. We'll get you straight. Shout out to Matty Gunner. Says,
"What's up, Matty?
Saul got outboxed, but he dared to be great. He did.
Yeah.
He did,
and I always appreciate that in fighters.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's the thing. If you're a Canelo fan and you're feeling down right now, you shouldn't feel down because all this means is he's not a light heavyweight. That's all I took away from it. He's just not a light heavyweight. And and honestly, even in this fight, he should have went in with a game plan to box him, not go out there and try to fight him. Like when he went to fight Triple G those 2 times, he knew Triple G was a bigger puncher. Right, like he knew that, and Triple G knew that, and Triple G went in there with bad intentions, and he ain't try to go walk down Triple G and slug it out. Like, yeah, he picked his points where he was like, look, I could take your hits, I'm not scared of you, but he boxed him, and that's how you should have approached a naturally bigger fighter. That's a skilled fighter. Like, yes, Bivol. The only reason I felt, not the only reason, but like one of the reasons I felt that he was going to lose the fight is that good fighter, but I didn't think he was polished. I saw some holes in his game, but credit to him, man. Like he had great defense, and I mean, he picked apart Canelo. And to Mr. J's point, I thought the same thing. Mr. J, he said, I thought Bivol was going to end it when he had Canelo on the ropes there. Yeah.
I didn't think so. I thought that was more of him just being tired than actually hurt. He wasn't. I don't think he was really hurt at any point. But yeah, no. I mean, Bivol really, really controlled the fight with his jab, and then you could see when he started to get comfortable, he threw in some combinations, and like Mikey was saying before, he refused to get into like a slugfest with Canelo, which is what Canelo was trying to draw him into when he got frustrated. Bivol is a faster fighter than Canelo in terms of his foot speed. He was moving around a lot. Canelo couldn't get him pinned on the ropes. And that's why I was surprised that he didn't go to the body more early on. We know that Canelo's a great body puncher. And, you go to the body early and maybe you slow him down and maybe you can catch him on the ropes later. Yeah. But it just seemed like he was kind of feeling like like he's that cinnamon god, and it just wasn't gonna, nobody could beat him, and he was gonna do what he wanted.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like he walked in there. I tweeted it out. He walked through that fight like he was the bigger fighter. That was his mistake. You're not the bigger fighter. You're the smaller fighter. You're not the bigger puncher, right? You're out there and like it sounds like you're punching harder because you're slapping his arms all night, but he wasn't in trouble at any point in that fight. And as soon as you got tired, he's just picking you apart, and we can see your head rocking back.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And then he started imposing his will on you, and like there's nothing you could do about that. And you're still trying to back him down, like you're flat-footed. He's moving his feet. It's just like it should be the opposite. Like B said, you work the body, you move around, but like he trained like a heavyweight. That's what happened with him. He trained like a heavyweight. I saw some of the footage of him sparring with heavyweights, and that's something that he's been doing. He's been fighting this way for the last few fights, and I think that's why you have like the Charlos and people out there like thinking, I can take this guy. Look how flat-footed he is. Like he needs to go back to that, just more of a well-rounded, boxer. Don't just try to be a heavy puncher. You're not going to be able to walk everybody down.
Yeah. And he's known to be a slow starter, right? So against guys like this, with game plans to out jab you and out punch you. It's hard. I mean, listen, this is what he does. Like, we all know Canelo will start slow, but he typically gets back into the fight as the other fighter starts to tire, and he usually hits him with a good shot, and that usually takes that fighter out from whether mentally or physically, whatever. Bivol was that wasn't happening tonight, and Canelo found himself behind, and he ultimately got gassed. I mean, that was a lot of weight that he was carrying, and that was the heaviest he ever came into a fight. So, he was gassed, man, and you could tell.
You can see it.
You could see even from when Bivol would hit him, and like you said, Jose, when his head would snap back or he would step back, he would drop his hands. Yeah. And like, it was like clear, like this dude is like, he's done. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so again, like you said, shout out to Bivol, man. He excellent game plan, excellent fight. He beat the pound for pound best boxer in the world. And that's a high praise. But like you said, no diss to Canelo, man. Like, he moved up, and that's hard to do. Like, I think a lot of people look at how great Canelo is, and when he tries to do these things, he moves up. There was even talk before this fight that, it was just talk this week. Oh yeah, after this fight, I wouldn't mind fighting Usyk. Like, it's like, all right, but like. Yeah. But I think
somebody that can put you away.
Yeah, and I think people feel like Canelo can do these things just because how great he is. But like, that's not an easy feat to do. What he was trying to do anyway. So
yeah, but I always kind of appreciate those attempts. Like even with we talked about with Anthony Joshua, how he should have just sat on the sidelines and waited for the Fury fight. I'm glad he didn't. I mean, I thought that was a great fight with Usyk. It didn't work out for him financially, but you like to see fighters take those kind of risks. That's why part of the reason why Trinidad was always my favorite fighter. He was doing that same kind of thing, just moving up, fighting champions, and his run wasn't as long as Canelo's, obviously, but that caught up with him too. But you enjoy the run while it's happening. Whereas again, you got Bud Crawford out here tweeting, "Oh, give me my number one spot." Like, why?
Yeah.
Give it to you for what?
Yeah, well, Canelo, like I said, I think this does absolutely nothing to tarnish his legacy, right? Like, he kept moving up, and I think everybody understood it as, yeah, man, like he's just testing his limit, and he reached his limit, and okay, you lost a decision. I mean, close on the scorecards. We'll get to that in a second, but you lost a decision, and okay, it is what it is. You can still hold your head up high. You're champions in, another what weight class? Super middleweight. You're still a champion super middleweight. So you go back down there, and there's other guys for you to fight. I mean, the Triple G fight is still something you can look at. I would highly advise Triple G to not do that fight, but but it's still on the table, and that doesn't mean anything. It was a good effort. Maybe that's something later on, if you want to go back and revisit it, because I think it was more of a strategy thing why he got washed in that fight. I'm not sure if he will win another one, a rematch, but I think he could fight much better than what we saw tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he does need to move back down. I don't want to see the Triple G fight. I think there's other fights for him to take. Triple G would probably be the biggest financially, and I'm sure he wants to get in there and just pound on somebody after that loss. But we'll see. But like you said, all three judges had it 115, 113, and it's funny because there was a point in the fight in the ninth round where Canelo tried to get himself going. Right, he came out and he was moving around much faster, and he started much faster. He was throwing a lot more punches. He was actually landing some, and that's one of the rounds that I gave him. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, if he keeps this going and wins 10, 11, and 12, this will be a close decision. And it turns out that if he had kept it going and won 10 and 11, he would have won the fight.
I know. I know. Let's read a couple of comments here. Shout out to Andrew. He says, with these fighters, even the best can get their clocks clean or bell rung on an off night. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Look, he just got outclassed in this fight. That's what happened. Mr. J said, got to give Canelo Chin credit, was eating those jabs and flurry of punches from Bivol. Yeah, Canelo's tough.
Yeah,
he's tough. It could have been a lot worse though, because Bivol is a smart boxer, right? He's not a brawler. If he's one of those guys that's just like, I want to put this man away.
Well, if he tried to do that, he would have opened himself up. Canelo couldn't hit him most of the night because he wasn't trying to engage. If he tried to engage, I think it would have been a different fight. Not that necessarily Canelo would have won. I'm not sure how much he would have been able to hurt him, but it would have been very different.
Yes, especially from a scoring standpoint, because he would have been able to land more for sure.
From a scoring standpoint, he would have won easily because that's how Canelo
do. Bear says Bud's a tad bit corny. He is. Yeah. He is. I like Bud. I like it. It's funny because there's like Errol Spence fans and Bud Crawford fans are so cliquish, right? They're like little gangs. Like you got to choose a side, and like they can't stand each other. I like both fighters. I just think Errol Spence is a better boxer. But I mean, look, I could be wrong. I like both of them. Why, thank you, Ravens Online on Gatekeepers. He says, like the tee. Do you like the t-shirt? Do you like it? Let me show you where you can get one of those things. Let me put that up here. Bam. lbhtshow.com/shop. That is where you can find our merch. All right. We got, get yourself a Ring King shirt. Got the hoodie that B's wearing over there. All right. Mikey just ordered some gear too.
Or you can just get that.
Or you can get that. Okay. Lunch break hot take. And speaking of, if you look at that pinned link, okay, that's how we do our super chats. Okay. Also $ LBHT show. Right. Next week I'm gonna have a little graphic so you can see it on there. You can just scan it with your phone if you want. That is for our Cash App. $ LBHT show. Those two ways are how you can do a super chat. All you do is go leave your donation, leave your comment, and you'll get an animation on my face. I'll probably have to take down this. I'm gonna have a whole different setup. In fact, here's what we're gonna do. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, now your face is covered. All right, I'll bring it back. Try it out. I'll change that for next week, but you'll have a little animation that pops up near my face. You'll be able to see it. We'll read your comment on air. But yes. Yes, we played the intro, Ferris. You missed it. Don't worry.
I don't know how you missed it. You were in here commenting while it was playing.
You were.
It's dope, by the way. It's fire. It's like the best one out there.
Maddie says only worst fans are Wilder fans. They are.
I swear they really are, because like, I mean, we have an email for our other show, Lunch Break Hot Take, and we don't like really encourage people to email or anything like that.
but one person did.
The only email that well, we've gotten a few since then, but the very first email that we've gotten was a Wilder fan upset that we said that Wilder couldn't box.
Wasn't a friend of our brothers.
Yeah.
It was a friend of our older brothers. Our brother told her to. It was a guy or a girl? I can't remember. Told a person to, hey, check out the podcast. We had an audio podcast, and we were talking about how Wilder isn't a skilled fighter. That person did not appreciate that and wrote us a nice long email about it. And we're like, okay, thanks for listening. You're wrong, but thanks for listening. What do you see in Wilder to make you think he's skilled? I don't understand. But yeah, they love the man.
Stay around because we're gonna play the outro as well.
Yes, don't go anywhere. He's gonna go off somewhere. He'll be like, oh, did I miss that too?
But let's just go to the other fights on the card really quick. There were 4 other fights. Mark Castro, who's been on a couple of Canelo's cards, fought Pedro Vincente. He won a unanimous decision. Not really a whole lot to say about that fight. I mean, it was a decent fight, but Castro was the heavy favorite, and he came through with a unanimous decision. The first fight was Scott Alexander, who took the fight on short notice against Zhang Zhilei, the Chinese heavyweight. And that one ended pretty early on.
Yes.
Zhang landed a clean straight left, and Alexander went right to bed.
Yes.
He fell back, and it was weird because like as he was falling, it looked like he turned to look at the ref, like wondering why this was happening to him. Why is my perspective changing? Why are you moving farther away? I don't understand. So they immediately stopped that one. Montana Love fought Gabriel Valenzuela in
Oh.
what was a much tougher fight
Yeah.
than it was supposed to be for Montana Love.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
fight to watch.
it was. I'm not a fan of this guy. Like I don't get the fascination with Montana Love. He's got a lot of other stuff going on. He doesn't seem real dedicated to boxing, and I just whenever I see him on a card, I'm just like,
I get the fascination with him. He's a showboater, and you're always gonna, that's always gonna be a draw. I get what he's doing. He's trying to sell himself. But you gotta deliver in fights, man. And
yeah.
I understand this guy was a tougher opponent. He had a longer reach, and they're both counter punchers. That's what made the fight boring. And I get it. I wasn't mad at either fighter. Like you fight, when you hear the crowd boo, I don't like crowds booing. I'm not a big fan of that. But they're booing because they want to see more action. But they were both smart, and they said, "Look, boo all you want. This is how we fight, and we're going to stick to our game plan." So
Yeah, especially after they both got dropped in the second round.
Well, the one dude got dropped in the first.
First and then the second.
I did Love in
yeah.
the second. Montana Love. I mean, there's talk about him fighting Broner. I mean, there will be
perfect fight.
Jesus Christ.
That will be. Listen, the fight will begin in the walk-ins. Like they will be battling to see who had the best ring walk.
That is the biggest I couldn't give a damn fight of all time.
Aren't they both from the same area? Aren't they both from
Ohio?
Ohio?
They both from Ohio. So Eddie Hearn is trying to put that together now. I'm with you though, B. I don't really see the fascination.
that would sell.
It's definitely gonna sell. Broner, you know what? Like Broner can still sell a fight, man. I know there was talk of him and Conor Benn possibly fighting, but
who's fighting? Who wants to fight Conor Benn? That's a bad
well,
idea.
Broner. Well, Conor Benn he's been calling out Broner.
I'm sure. I mean, Broner. Like you said, Broner got a name. Broner sells. I try to get in there with him too.
I've been watching Conor Benn's fights. You don't want to step in the ring with that guy.
Man, he said that wasn't a fan. That was Wilder. Wilder don't need no burner cast. He ain't afraid to engage with people.
He really isn't.
And he's got a lot of time. Zhang was the guy they offered Joshua to step aside for Usyk. Now we know why he didn't take it. Yeah, well, Usyk didn't work out either. So, But the best fight of the night was Christian Gomez against Shakram Giyasov. I hope I'm not saying that incorrectly. But a couple of welterweights. Christian Gomez, a big puncher. Giyasov, who he's a really slick fighter, really quick hands, and was not afraid to stand in there and trade with Gomez at all. Mm-hmm. And it actually, he showed why. He knocked Gomez down 3 times before the end of that one. So I thought that was a very entertaining fight. They all kind of agreed that he's going to be a world champion moving forward. And I mean, he looked the part to me.
Yeah, no, he looked good. There were a couple of times. Yeah, what made it exciting was, yes, he dominated the fight, 3 knockdowns. But after every knockdown, Gomez got up and returned the favor.
Yeah.
And there was one where he hit him with the uppercut. I was just like, man, if there was a little bit more time left in this round.
Yeah, he would have dropped him.
Yeah.
He would have dropped him. But solid card. We've seen worse a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
I'm still upset.
I'm still mad at that card. But it was a solid card. I'm with you though, B. I don't see I really don't get the hype on Montana Love. I mean, I get what you were saying as well, Zay. He showed both. I mean, the dude walked to the ring with a dog. So I mean, I get it. But I'm with you. I'm not really hyped on him.
You gotta back that kind of stuff up in the ring.
Yeah.
Like Prince Nassim used to have those ridiculous walkouts where he would stand there and just literally dance for 5 minutes. And nobody wants to see you dance, but he would get in the ring and it would be really exciting, exciting fights.
Yeah,
you can't do all that and then get in the ring and do what Montana Love did tonight.
Yeah, I agree.
So look, speaking of DAZN, man, we gotta talk about this. Okay, we gotta talk about this. DAZN just straight. I mean, is nobody gonna bring up the fact that DAZN just lied to their customers?
They lied.
They lied. Okay, the whole point of DAZN, you pay your monthly membership and you don't have to pay for pay-per-view. There's a fight on. Yeah, or what?
I was gonna say or yearly, which they got us for a couple of days ago because I forgot to turn off the auto renew,
Oh man,
and still had to pay for the pay-per-view.
I
Right.
hate that. I hate that.
Like I mean, that is like it's disingenuous to say the least.
Yeah.
Right. I just and honestly, looking at the fight card, if you're going to make people pay on top of what they're already paying, and you're paying because you have Canelo. That's why people are paying that monthly fight. Cause so when Canelo comes on, okay, I pay my money throughout the year, right? I paid throughout the year, so I'm gonna watch Canelo when he comes on. You're making me pay extra now. You gotta give me something better than that card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was okay, but you got other fighters. You better throw a worthy co-main event on there.
Yeah.
That just wasn't good enough.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, I had DAZN back when they
I know,
first,
Maddie. I know.
back when they first came out, and the fact that Canelo, well, it just even if you just leave it at Canelo, like Canelo was a name that was good enough to sell it for me. Okay, yeah, I'll pay that because I get to see Canelo fight 3 times a year. I don't have to pay that pay-per-view. Like, it's worth it. But then you added names like Anthony Joshua, Triple G. You know, it's like, okay, yes, this is worth that.
And they brought in a lot of young prospects.
Yeah,
too.
Devin Haney, Demetrius Andre. Like, it was worth the fee. But when it came with this, it's like, hold up, bro. Like, that's not what you sold me. That's not what we talked about. Canelo was included in that package that you sold me.
And the first time you have your pay-per-view, which you used to run ads that said pay-per-view is dead, and now you're selling me a pay-per-view for a Canelo fight. And the first time you do it, Canelo loses.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too. I'm interested to see. I'm sure the numbers are going to be really well for this, but I'm interested to see how things look moving forward. The fallout from this, because Cinco de Mayo weekend, Canelo Alvarez, going for he's trying to go for history, right? He's trying to solidify himself as one of the best ever by moving up, multiple weight classes and holding belts in multiple weight classes, and obviously light heavyweight, the heaviest he's fought at, to be a champion. And they thought, okay, that'll be huge, it'll be worth it, fans will be happy, but he took that L. And how many of those fans are looking at like, man, I had to pay to see my guy lose. Like,
after I already paid to see my guy lose.
Right. So what am I looking forward to the rest of the year? Because I know, like, I was a huge Tito fan, and if that were Tito losing to Bernard Hopkins, I'm canceling right now. I don't want to watch any more boxing on your channel, right?
And like Maddie's asking here or saying here, if they think I'm paying for Kambosos versus Haney, they're out of their minds. That's a good fight. It's a really good fight. Right. But you told me I didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pay for it now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people won't pay for that. Like Devin Haney and Canelo's the biggest thing in boxing. He's the pound for pound number one. Like Jose said, he's going for history, moving up, trying to unify another division. Nobody knows Kambosos and Haney.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they'll try to do a pay-per-view for that one. But
that's the other thing too. Like, how are they planning on trying to do something like this again, or is it just for Canelo fights? Because like you said, like the biggest fighter in boxing right now. Okay, you got away with it, but who else are you going to try to do that for? Because I'm sure other fighters are like, well, you put him on pay-per-view. Why can't you put me on pay-per-view?
Isn't it the second one they did?
No, this is the first pay-per-view that DAZN has done. What happened on a previous Canelo fight, which I kind of gave him a pass for, now I regret it. They actually had the fight on Showtime.
On Showtime,
because it was another fighter's promoter, and they kind of they went with that guy. They went to Showtime, so it wasn't on DAZN at all.
Wasn't that Caleb Plant? That was a Caleb Plant fight.
I believe so. So they're like, yeah,
boxer.
Sorry, this one's not going to be on DAZN, even though the only reason you signed up is to watch all of Canelo's fights on DAZN.
Right.
It's on Showtime. Nothing we can do about it. So I was like, all right, it's not your fight technically, right? Because he's contracted with somebody else, and they're going to go with Showtime and blah blah blah. Okay, we're cool, DAZN. And then you come back and you're like, hey, You excited about Cinco de Mayo? I know I am. You excited to see Canelo move up and fight again? I know I am. You excited to give me $60 for it? No.
Yeah.
Is Bivol is he a DAZN fighter?
I imagine he is, but I
Listen,
don't know that for sure.
They better start hyping the hell out of Bivol.
I'll tell you one thing: I'm not paying for Bivol's fights either.
No, I'm just saying. No, because what I'm saying is we ain't talking about pay-per-view. We're talking about keep people from canceling the membership, right? Because a lot of people sign up for membership for these Canelo fights, and it's like, well, I gotta pay for this now. I gotta rethink this whole thing, right? And then you just saw him lose, and it's just like, yeah, I'm really not feeling this now, because now it's just like, well, what am I looking forward to coming up from DAZN? Nothing. Yeah, let me go ahead and cancel.
And you don't have that security of, oh man, yeah, I can't wait to watch that fight. I know I'm going to be able to watch that fight. Now, anytime a really good matchup comes up, you're like, am I going to have to pay for this?
Yes.
And if so, why am I bothering to pay for the platform?
Right. That's what I was saying. Like, they better start really hyping up Bivol and say you can get these Bivol fights for free. You know, something. You got to do something to regain trust. I think their next fight card, they better stack it.
But my man Bivol is 31. He just had his 20th fight, so I don't think we're going to see him for a while.
I don't know.
Are we sure the Ryan Garcia wasn't pay-per-view?
Yeah, no, they haven't done a pay-per-view.
Because I remember us talking about it.
What did he?
No,
that's free.
This is the first time they've done pay-per-view.
They're gonna have to tell Ryan Garcia, yo, wake up, man. We need you. We need you out there more. Bring your IG crowd and your YouTube crowd, because, yeah, man. Bivol just beat Canelo live on pay-per-view, and he's about to go right back to some random undercard. Yeah,
not gonna be on the undercard. It's just nobody will be watching.
He'll be on your regularly scheduled DAZN programming.
Yeah.
Okay. Like they're not gonna. He's not gonna get any extra bump for this. I mean, he'll get a little bit more notoriety, and that's good for Bivol's career. I mean, that's great for Bivol's career. Don't get me wrong. So I mean, that's one fight that they can sell to say, hey, yeah, look, the guy that beat Canelo, you can watch him if you subscribe to DAZN. But again, like losing that trust with fans, like, yeah, that was a bad move. This fight will pay off because everybody loves Canelo. Cinco de Mayo weekend, I'm sure it did numbers, but sheesh, man, at what cost long term?
Yeah. They tripping on, they bugged out on that, and I'm sure they losing subscribers as we speak.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Ryan Garcia, the influencer. Yeah, he fights sometimes.
I thought he was like a personal trainer. I saw him doing a commercial with Damian Lillard. I don't know. But, yeah. So yeah, no, that's very disappointing. It was a good fight. But the fact that it was on pay-per-view, and I was kind of rooting for Canelo to win, and he lost 10 out of the 12 rounds. It doesn't feel like a good night.
No.
and I'm a Rose Namajunas fan, and she got beat. Doesn't feel like a good night.
The best fight of the night was Michael Chandler knocking out Tony Ferguson with that front kick.
Well, no. Charles Oliveira got knocked down a couple times in the first round and came back and won via submission in the first round over Justin Gaethje. So that's probably the best fight of the night, except he was a half pound too heavy and lost his belt, and now he's not champion, even though he just won the championship fight. He's the number one contender though, so he can get a title fight later, even though he just ran through all the top lightweights in the world.
Yeah.
Wait, the dude Ferguson is the one that was
he was the one that was sleeping face first. Yeah, he was the one talking about Dana. Yeah. So I'm sure Dana was giddy.
Dana put lead in that other guy's foot or something. There's no way it was no way that guy was going to get out of it. He was going to win any fight with that after talking about Dana.
Do we want to talk about Dana tonight, or do we want to say that for another day? Because I was thinking Canelo was going to take care of business, and it would be a fairly quiet night Yeah, we can get into some Dana talk.
Maddie says, can we talk about how the scale did more to take a championship than Carla Esparza? I didn't see the Rose fight. I heard it was not very active. I heard there wasn't a whole lot of fighting going on in that one, and that Rose lost a split decision. which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. That's all right. We still love Thug Rose. But yeah, man. Look, like I said, if you just joining, welcome. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also hit that like button. We're recapping the Canelo fight. Canelo takes his first L since Floyd Mayweather.
Mm-hmm.
And like they said something during the fight that I didn't agree with. And they're like, we never seen Canelo look this discouraged. That's exactly how he looked when he fought Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a knock you can have against Canelo is, like when he feels like things aren't going well, like he kind of does that. He kind of, he gets frustrated and he kind of just stands around. He's kind of showing like, yeah, you're not hurting me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, but like you got to score points. The other guy's scoring points and you're not scoring points. Like, yeah, we get it. You're tough. You're not getting hurt, and you want the fight to go your way. And they're saying no, it's not going to go your way. It's going to go my way.
I don't think that's really a big issue though, because I mean that it only happens when he's thoroughly outclassed. And how many times is that going to happen to Canelo?
No, it's not.
Well,
I mean? that's why I said it. Like the one thing you can point to is it's not a big thing, but it is one thing you can point to.
He does like doing the you wrapped your arm around my head, I'm going to lift you up off the mat and walk around with you thing.
Yeah. Shout out to One Mic History.
Yeah,
make sure you go subscribe to his channel, man. One Mic History. Go look, you guys. If you subscribe to Lunch Break Hot Take, you see we do the Black History fact before every show. Our guy over here, he has a Black History channel. It is a dope channel, so make sure you subscribe. He says people paid American dollars to see Canelo washed. Yes. That over here. Shout out to E Street.
Yeah.
Shout out to E Street.
But you know what? I mean, it's like a weird vibe to this fight because Canelo got washed, right? But like you almost feel like he didn't lose. Like it's not one of those.
He was playing with house money.
Yeah.
He was playing with house money. Like it didn't mean it. Okay, like you didn't win. You're not a light heavyweight. Like you know what I'm saying?
Well,
like
that's kind of.
He looked. I mean, he looked like a smaller guy just moving up.
That was kind of striking right at the beginning of the fight. How much bigger Bivol looked than Canelo. Like he looked like a little guy.
That's why I thought it was a bad idea when he was like wailing away early. I was just like, yeah, you probably don't want to do that. Like this isn't Kovalev. Like you don't want to do that with Bivol.
Yeah, but I do want to ask. So, what do you guys think this does to Canelo in terms of the pound for pound list? Since your boy Bud brought it up,
he doesn't move. He's not.
I
don't think he moves.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. Like, part of me wants to say, like, do the college football thing, where hey, you lost, you have to move, you have to drop, but not really. You kind of to me, this is more akin to losing an exhibition.
The problem is, look. The problem is this: it's how he lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if he was just outboxing Bivol, but Bivol was just too strong for him, right? Okay, fine. You're not a light heavyweight. It's whatever. But Bivol actually outboxed Canelo. That's the problem. Like that's what I say. Like he went in there thinking he was the bigger man. He tried to walk down Bivol too much, and you're not stronger than him. You're not going to hit harder than him, and he's outboxing you. So that's the problem. Like we talking about pound for pound. Pound for pound is, all things being equal, who's the better boxer, right? When you move up in weight, but you didn't look like the better boxer tonight. I think he's a better boxer still, but you didn't look like it tonight. So if we're just doing pound for pound list off, just after this fight, it's hard to put him ahead of Bivol right now.
Listen, as long as Lomachenko on the list with 2 losses, Canelo shouldn't move. He shouldn't move.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like, it does matter how you lose, but with Canelo's style that he's been fighting over the last several fights, I think it really was just the weight.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you.
So I can't really, because you know what it reminds me of? Israel Adesanya, one of our favorite MMA fighters, completely dominated the middleweight division, was getting bored, was like, I'm going to move up to light heavyweight. And he fought Jan Blachowicz, who was the light heavyweight champ at the time, just a naturally bigger guy, right? And, we all know that Adesanya is a more skilled fighter than Blachowicz, but Blachowicz got him on the ground and laid on him. And you you lose the fight, and he moves back down. And that's kind of what this fight looked like to me. It's like, hey, I'm kind of a bully, Canelo. I come forward, I pound on people, I break them down, and I get them out of there. And he tried to do that. He was doing that all fight, and he just can't break down a much bigger guy than him.
Right.
So for me, I just, like I said, this is more like him losing an exhibition match than going in there. Like now, if he had gone in and Bivol had engaged with him more and just beat him up, that's different. But
Ferris says Arthur Beterbiev is a pound for pound number one. I don't think so.
Based on what though?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think he moves. I mean, I get what you're saying as well. Be like, part of me is thinking that, like, okay, you lost, right? But I like we said, man, this fight just has a vibe like he didn't lose. Like, I mean, Twitter, the world didn't stop. Now if he loses, he gets in there with the Charlo or one of those guys, and they beat him up. All right, I think the world and Twitter might halt for a while, for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're surprised, but I think true boxing fans aren't like blown away that he lost this fight. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
It's not the biggest shock. I mean, just off of, like we said, he fought with house money. He's fighting a much bigger guy. Like, we've seen him do it before, but like it's gonna get to a point where that catches up to you.
And I think he understood it a little bit too, because he's like, yo, no excuses. Like,
they're excuses. Yeah.
He's like, no excuses. Like, he's a better man. Because I think everybody understood, his camp understood. Yeah, there's gonna be that possibility when I'm going up this far in weight. Like, these guys are no joke with their power, and you're fighting a very skilled guy. I think overall Canelo's more skilled, more polished, but like I said, he didn't show it in this fight. But yeah, as I said, no excuses. When he lost to Mayweather, there's all the excuses. Not for Canelo, but for Canelo's camp. He's only 24 or whatever. He's only 25. Yeah, this is a net. Canelo don't ever really make excuses, but you could tell he was a lot more frustrated about that fight.
Yeah,
he thought he was supposed to win that fight. This fight, there was some doubt, some natural doubt, and like I said, nobody's looking at that and thinking, "Oh, Canelo's washed." He got washed. He's not washed.
Yeah,
So it's fine.
Ferris says no, he didn't lay on him. He worked the ground control and he laid some fists on him. Nah, Ferris, no, he laid on him.
He did that in one round. He did that in one round at the end of the round.
And listen, I'm not giving you credit for doing that. Like, he laid on him because he was a much smaller guy. What happened in the very next fight that Blachowicz had? The second he got on the ground, he quit. Tell me about him. Tell me about him working the ground game.
He put one of my moves every time. What do I say? Every time I was like, if I ever fight, if somebody get me pinned on the ground, I'm immediately tapping out.
Chest touched Matt and he tapped.
Yeah,
like, he wasn't even in a submission yet. He was like, no, we're done.
I actually like Blachowicz more after that. I was like, yeah, I can relate to that.
But yeah, he hit Sim. He hit Sim to end. Right?
He didn't get choked out, sir. This is wrong. He did not get choked out. No, he tapped way before. He tapped before he got that arm around his neck. He's like, no. It's all right. We're good.
He clocked out. He didn't get choked out.
Wow, Matty Gunner. He says, I'm willing to put Ricky Hatton over Bud on pound for pound list for his comments. Wow. Look, Bud is that dude for sure. He's that dude. Yeah. The problem is, and it was out of his control. He was with Top Rank, and Bob Arum wasn't trying to give him any big fights. And he would, outside of Sean Porter, like, he wasn't really ready to or able to fight any other top fighters. Where Errol Spence, he was kind of a free agent. He works with Al Heyman and Mayweather and them, so he's able to get some more of those fights. So Errol Spence just has the better resume, just by who he's associated with. But now Bud Crawford's going to get his shot. They're saying that's going to be the next fight, and Bud has a chance to really show it. But look, I don't have a problem with Bud saying, like, you're supposed to have that confidence in yourself. I don't have any problem with Bud saying it. Now, if other people start saying it, then we're going to have a problem, right? Bud's supposed to think that about himself.
Sure.
The homie Mike. Yes.
What up, bro?
Yeah.
So I mean, my question is this: he has a rematch clause? So does he bypass that and go to the Triple G fight, or do you think he takes that rematch?
I
I
want
don't.
to do the rematch.
I don't think he takes the rematch. Honestly, I think I think he looks at it and says, it was an experiment. Experiment failed, and I'll just move back down and go fight all of those people who we know can't beat him, but everybody keeps clamoring for him to fight.
I didn't want him to do Bivol and Triple G. I wanted him to do Charlo and Benavidez.
Me too.
That's how I wanted him to do. But look, you did the 2-fight contract. So okay, you lost to Bivol. So what? Go fight Triple G. Triple G he wants the beat down. Give it to him, right? And then go fight the Charlo, the Charlos and Benavidez of the world. What's up, Danny? What's up, guys? Hope you enjoy the intro and credits.
Man,
always great to work with you guys. Hey, appreciate you, Danny. Yes, if you like the intro to our show, and stay tuned for the end credits. This is the guy who did it right here, Danny. Yes, indeed. Appreciate you, Danny. He also did the intro and the end credits for our other channel, Lunch Break Hot Take. So make sure you subscribe to both so you can check those out.
Yes.
Go fight Triple G. Triple G did not look good in that last fight. I know he came back and won by knockout. He looked every bit of 40 years old. So if I'm Triple G, I would think twice about it. But if he wants it, go get it. He's still a popular fighter. That will do numbers as well. The money's there, obviously. And then after that, Charlo will be there, Benavidez will be there, whoever else wants that smoke will be there. So Canelo's fine.
Shout out to my man Damon Nicholson, who said when they had the two packages, he said this Bivol package was the harder package, even though we all thought that he ducking Charlo Benavidez, that he didn't want that. He said that this would be the harder fight, and it showed proof tonight. So shout out to Damon.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm sure he knows a little something. He is a professional fighter, so
we all didn't think that from the moment they said. I said he will wreck Charlo.
But, but look, you didn't think he was going to lose a Bivol either.
No, I didn't think he was going to lose. I'm saying I thought that was the harder route. And I didn't think Charlo and Benavidez is difficult at all.
I don't think he's going to wreck those. I think he'll beat them. I don't think he's going to wreck them.
Charlo getting knocked out.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
I think Charlo can beat him, but I think what happens to Charlo is exactly what didn't happen tonight. He'll slip, he'll have a mistake, and that's what Canelo will take advantage of. Canelo was waiting for that one mistake tonight. He was waiting.
He's a machine, dude.
Yeah, and Bivol he was just on it, where he just was. I'm not gonna make that mistake. I'm not gonna make that mistake, and he didn't. I could see Charlo making that mistake, thinking he got Canelo hurt, and he jump in there, and Canelo catches him with an uppercut, and then
sure. Like there was that moment in the fight where he landed, or he threw like a 6 or 7 punch combination. He landed 3 or 4 of them on Canelo on the ropes, and landed a few of them pretty cleanly. And he backed up, and Canelo kind of waved him in.
Yeah, try to wave him in.
And he's like, come do it again. Come do it again. And Bivol's like, no, I was programmed for the one.
Yeah.
He's like, come over here.
That's smart. Like, Canelo was clearly setting him up for that. He wanted that exchange, and Bivol was smart enough to move back.
Yeah.
Well, Mike says Triple G and Bob Arum are definitely the same. I always say Triple G was taking some deep breaths in that last fight, boy.
Man, if Ryoto Murata cared at all about defense, he would have beat Triple G.
Yeah.
That man don't defend anything.
Oh, man, he was taking some deep breaths. Shout out to Derek, man. D Weezy says, still waiting on my round robin to wrap up. Okay, all right. Yes. Fair says, I hate Bob Arum. How does he still have fighters to promote? To be honest, man, Top Rank is because the top promoters. He's got a contract with ESPN. ESPN is going to sell the fighters. So that's his way in with young fighters. Hey man, I'm going to get you exposure, and he can. But let's just be real about it, man. Like Bob Arum doesn't care about black fighters, and he doesn't care about women fighters.
The women fighters, man, they proved him wrong. They proved him wrong. Have they announced the Stevenson Valdez numbers? Because I know they put out the ladies.
Well, that wasn't pay per view, right? Stevenson and Valdez wasn't pay per view.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, it was on, but I mean, neither of them were pay per view. One was on DAZN, one was on ESPN Plus.
But to do 1.5 and that being even with DAZN being a subscription, that's a good point. Yeah, that's good numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I haven't seen any numbers yet. They probably won't release that.
Let's see. Let's see if they have it. Ratings. Average.
Jamal, yeah. They're asking when's the next good boxing card. I believe that it is next week, or maybe this is where we have the 1 week break. Let me check for you real quick.
So boxing scene says Stevenson Valdez averaged it peaked at 1.4 million. So yeah.
Next weekend we got Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano, and then 2 weeks after that is Tank and Romero, and then the following week is Kambosos and Haney.
Yeah.
So
now, wait. So Jamal's the one that wants to fight Canelo, right? Jamal's the big one.
Yeah, Jamal.
Jamel's the one that he lost to Castano last time, man. I ain't going. I think he lost that fight. I think he lost that fight.
I didn't think he lost the fight, but I think he gets emotional. Both of the twins get emotional. And listen, the best thing that camp could have done was to stop them from fighting on the same card.
Yes.
Because that night that was it Jamel that lost to?
I think Jamel lost.
Harrison?
Yeah, Jamel lost.
And I mean, Jamal was in a funk. He won, but he was in a funk. You could tell his attitude was just. So they don't need to. I'm glad they stopped them fighting on the same card, but
yeah,
they get emotional, man, and they get caught up in the oohs and ahs in the audience, and it shows. I didn't think he lost, but he didn't do enough to convincingly win that fight for sure. So he's gonna have his hands full.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what would you say was next week?
Charlo.
Charlo and Castano, and then 2 weeks after that is Tank and Romero.
I think it's a solid fight. That following weekend too. Not nothing. Not nothing the casual fan to be checking for, but I think the following weekend is something that's not bad either.
Yeah. And Jaron Ennis is on one of those undercards as well. I forget which one now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Yes, Maddie. Now give women 3 minute rounds. I agree.
Totally agree.
I mean, the women do fight 3-minute rounds. As it's not a big issue to me. Like I think that that's something that's going to naturally go away as the next generation of female fighters come up, and they'll just be fighting 3-minute rounds.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, like I said, man, Canelo took a second loss.
Yeah, and Ennis is fighting on the Charlo undercard next weekend.
I don't think we talked enough about these judges and how they really tried to give Canelo this fight 115 to 113. If you didn't watch the fight, it was nowhere near that.
All 3 cards were one. I missed
all
that.
3 cards were 115 to 113. And even and we were doing our group text, and I was like, man, why does Porter have Canelo up right now?
Yeah.
Right. In the 5th round, he's like, I have. He said, Bivol fans, don't panic, but I have Canelo up 3-2. I was just like, you're a lie.
Yeah.
Just to jump in real quick, there are some fights on the weekend of the 21st. I don't know how to say this guy's last name. Janabek Alim Kanuli. He's fighting on ESPN Plus. David Benavidez is fighting David Lemieux on Showtime.
Oh, okay.
And also We have a light heavyweight title eliminator with Joshua Buatsi and Craig Richards on DAZN.
Yeah, casual fans, you probably not checking for that, but that's not a bad weekend of fights either.
Yeah,
DAZN might have to bump up some of these fights to get some viewers back, because like I said, if I'm a Canelo, if I'm a huge Canelo fan, Mexican fan, Cinco de Mayo weekend, you made me pay extra, right? Because when did they announce the fight? Because when they announced the fight, they didn't say it was pay-per-view right away, right? Right away, it wasn't pay-per-view.
No, that was the other thing. Like they waited long enough for people to be excited about watching the fight, and then like, oh, by the way,
right. So that's what I'm saying. Like if I've been paying and I'm expecting to watch this fight on DAZN, and then it's like, oh, by the way, you gotta pay $60. Wait, what? Like you're mad, but that's your guy, so you're gonna pay it, and then he takes the L. Like I'm canceling my membership right now.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what, like this is some BS. You made me pay to see my guy lose. Canceled. Okay. I don't care what your next fight is. Cancel. It ain't gonna be Canelo.
What's this round robin you got, D Weezy?
He's got coming up. He's got Devin Haney, and he's got Tank. Those are the last two on it. I think Fury was another, and I forget the other. But if Haney and he needs Haney and Tank to win.
Oh, okay.
Sure. If you want to come on the show, you're welcome to come on the show. There's no stipulations. You want to come on, just come on.
This has always been my stance on the Charlos as well. Don't like it.
Well, who named them? Like seriously, why you gotta do us like this? Yeah,
I believe their parents named them Ferris, but I don't think that's the mystery here.
Way too similar. Way too similar.
Jamel and Jamal.
Yeah,
that typically happens with twins, right? Like
they're not.
Yes.
You got like
yes. You're right.
Makai and something crazy like that.
Shout out to my boys Aaron and Anson. Went to high school with them.
Aaron and Anson. Yes. Aaron and Anson.
Yeah. I think that's more distinguishable than Jamel Jamal. Like you're talking about one vowel.
Yeah, I always get them. I do get the Charlo twins confused, so I'm with you, Ferris.
Yeah,
it's awful.
Like Ferris, you want twins to be named like Michael and like James. Like that's how you.
Right.
That's the only way to get that.
Yeah. He said Triple G was the fourth.
G. Okay. The only thing I mean, Tank should win. That Haney fight is gonna be. I think that's gonna be a tough fight, but Haney can very well win that fight. So
yeah.
But
all right, we're streaming for almost an hour. We're gonna wrap up soon. We ain't talk about Dana. Do you want to say that for next time?
We'll say that for
that deserves its own podcast. That might be a recorded one. That won't be live. That's gonna be a recorded one. But we had some strong thoughts about Dana White. And if you don't know what we're talking about, Dana White was on the Pivot podcast talking some gibberish about boxing is losing money because the fighters are overpaid and all these big fights are like are going out of business sale, and just he's the biggest meathead executive I've ever seen. You want to talk about luck? This man is just not even luck. It's just it is luck. He's lucky that he just had wealthy friends to support him, right? There's nothing special about Dana White. No matter what anybody tells you, they'll tell you, oh, Dana White, he built this company up into this multi-billion-dollar business, and he built it from the ground up. He didn't build it from the ground up. He didn't invent UFC. He got a $4 million investment from his two wealthy friends that are brothers, right? And also billionaires. And, like he had the financial backing the whole time, and he had smart people around him. But Dana himself is just a meathead, right? And he's a fanboy, and he's done more to hurt the UFC. I think the UFC could have been much bigger than it is now, and it is big, right? And like credit to them, like it is big, but it could be even bigger if he wasn't in the way. So I mean, I don't like the guy. I think he doesn't do it any service, and he's talking about other sports where clearly he doesn't have enough knowledge about it, because boxing is thriving and it's still good. It's still a much bigger sport than MMA. And just not understanding like the environment that you're in. You're calling these boxers overpaid while your fighters have been getting louder and louder about you not paying them. So I mean, we'll discuss it more though. We'll discuss it.
Shout out to Jake Paul.
Looks like we don't need to have that other show talking about it. We got it right there. What's going on, Bacon?
What's up, Bacon? Thanks for coming through. Boxers being overpaid. Yeah.
Those are pretty much my thoughts as well. Dana's a bully. Dana likes to be loud. Dana doesn't like to be wrong. If anybody calls out Dana, he's just gonna go back at him in the media. And it doesn't matter if what he's saying is correct or not.
We got to bring Maddie on the show when we do this. Yes, Maddie, we got to bring you on the show so we can discuss Dana in more context.
All right, Ferris, are you still here? Because we're about to play the outro.
Yes, it is about that time. One more time.
Protect Jake Paul at all costs, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Jake Paul. Yes. Hey, look, shout out to the people that in here at 2 a.m. Eastern time. Hang out with
7 a.m. for Maddie. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Maddie, man. Appreciate you. Once again, if you're new, hit that subscribe button. Right, we're over 100 subscribers. Help us get to 200 real quick, and then 1,000. 1,000. Okay, we got some goals we're trying to meet. All right. All right. Any last thoughts before we get out of here, guys?
Canelo took that L, man. Judges should be ashamed of themselves. It was that much of a wash that they did anything they did as best as they could to keep it as close as they could. Because any closer, that they would have swung it, or would have been a draw. But he got washed, man.
I think they should be ashamed of themselves, but not because they had it so close. I mean, if you're gonna have it that close, just go all the way. Just give them the fight.
Yeah.
Why would you have it 115, 113? All it's gonna do is make you look incompetent. You didn't even get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because any more than that would have looked criminal, right? Then they'd be under investigation.
Floyd was a majority decision.
Yeah. Didn't that judge get in trouble though? I think that judge got in trouble. I think that person was under investigation for that. Like, I mean,
you can't investigate me for my opinion.
Fair said, Mikey, your guys' videos are coming out on Monday and Tuesday. Len Bias on Monday.
Nice.
Is that going to be on Let's Get Ready Network? Plug it, Ferris. Let's go. Plug it.
Ferris said like it was a private message.
Right. All right. You can throw it in the comments. We about to get out of here and just tweet it. We'll retweet it. Yes. But hey, shout out to everybody. B, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. We get out of here. Y'all have a good night. We're gonna put out some more content soon. No promises for a live stream next week. No promises.
In fact, I don't promise it's not going to happen.
But we are going to put out some content.
We ain't live streaming a Charlo fight.
We're going to put out some content. That's for sure. So stay tuned for that. But y'all have a good night, and we will see you next time. Peace out.